Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Thanks for joining us today.
So you're thinking about studying medicine abroad. It's a huge decision, right? And for so many Indian students and their parents, two names keep popping up: Russia and Uzbekistan. One's the old, established choice. The other is the new, closer to home option. How on earth do you choose between them?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. We're going to put these two popular spots head to head, comparing everything that really matters to you, from the moment you apply to the day you actually get to call yourself a doctor. All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the basics, admission and travel. Then we'll dive into what the classroom experience is actually like. After that, the big one, the budget. Then we'll talk about daily life and safety. And finally, we'll cover what your future looks like after you graduate. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. What are the first hurdles you've got to jump? How easy is it to get there, and what do you actually need to get in? Right off the bat, the difference in just getting there is huge. Think about it. Uzbekistan is practically our neighbor. You can hop on a direct flight from Delhi or Mumbai and be there in just 3 to 4 hours. Russia, on the other hand, that's a much longer journey. You're looking at 10 to 12 hours, usually with a layover. That's a big difference, especially when you're flying back and forth. And it's not just about the travel, right? Getting in is a whole different ballgame. For Russia, you can't just rely on your NEET score. You have to pass their own separate entrance exam, usually physics, chemistry, and English, and sometimes even an interview. But for Uzbekistan, it's way more straightforward. If you've qualified for NEET in India, that's it. You're good to go. No extra exams, no extra stress. Okay, so let's move on to the heart of it all, the education itself. Now, the way they teach in both these countries is probably quite different from what you're used to. So let's see how they actually build your medical knowledge. So one thing that's great about both places is that they use a small batch system. Forget those giant lecture halls with hundreds of students. Here, you're in a group of maybe 15 to 20. In Russia, this really helps build a close relationship with your teachers. But Uzbekistan takes this hands-on approach even further. Their whole model is built around practical lectures where you, the student, have to present topics to the class. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to what Kaushal, a student at Tashkent Medical Academy, had to say. He says, the teacher gives you a topic, you have to present it to the whole class, and then the teacher and your classmates will grill you with questions. I mean, there's no way you can't master the material with that kind of system, right? So what about the places where you'll actually be studying? Well, you've got two very different vibes. In Russia, you'll be learning in these grand, historic buildings from the Soviet era. It's got that established, traditional feel. But in Uzbekistan, the focus is all on the new. Many universities have brand new, modern buildings that are packed with the latest high-tech equipment. All right, now for the part everyone, especially parents, is waiting for: the money. The budget is a massive deal, so let's see how the finances really stack up. With Russia, the price tag can be all over the map. You might find some universities for less than 3 lakhs a year, but if you're looking at big cities like Moscow or Kazan, those fees can easily jump to over 6 lakhs. Uzbekistan, on the other hand, is much more predictable and frankly budget-friendly. Most universities there are going to be right around that 3 lakh per year mark. And when you look at the big picture, the entire 6-year course, the numbers get even clearer. For Uzbekistan, when you factor in tuition, your hostel, food, the whole shebang, you're looking at a total cost of about 30 to 35 lakh rupees. Now, for a similar quality of life and education in a decent Russian university, that number jumps up a lot. You're probably looking at a total budget in the range of 45 to 50 lakhs rupees. That's a difference of about 15 lakhs right there. And, you know, it's not just about the total cost, it's about the sheer headache of getting the money there. Because of international sanctions, sending money to Russia can be really tricky. Students often have to literally carry US dollars with them to exchange. But in Uzbekistan, it's a breeze. Your parents can transfer fees directly to the university, and your Indian debit and credit cards work just fine. Okay, so we've covered the books and the budget, but what's it actually like to live there every day? Let's talk about culture, and more importantly, safety. Look, I know what you're probably thinking when you hear Russia right now. The number one question is always about safety because of the war. But what do students actually living there say? Well, Pradyot in Kazan says that honestly, their daily life is completely normal. It's safe and the conflict feels a world away. And in Uzbekistan, the sense of safety comes through in a totally different way. It's about the people. This story from Kaushal is incredible.
His senior lost a very expensive watch, and some local students found it. They didn't keep it. They handed it over to the hostel warden so it could be returned. That says a lot about the culture of honesty there.
All right, let's fast forward to the end game. You've got your degree, now what? Let's look at the final, most crucial step, getting your license and starting your career.
In Russia, once you finish your 6-year degree, you're not quite done. You have to pass another mandatory state exam called the GAZ. Now, passing this is key because it gives you a license to practice not just in Russia, but all across Europe. After that, you come back to India and clear the FMGR or next exam.
Now compare that to Uzbekistan. It's just so much more straightforward. The moment you pass your final university exams and get your degree, that piece of paper is your Uzbek medical license. There are no extranational exams to worry about. You just pack your bags, come back to India, and focus on the next exam.
So we've looked at everything, from the flights and the fees to the teaching and the final licensing. So what does this all actually mean for you? Let's boil it down. If we put it all on a final scorecard, it looks something like this. Russia's big advantages are its well-established, historic universities, more pricing options, and that license that opens up a pathway to Europe. Uzbekistan's strengths? Well, they're all about simplicity and value. It's significantly cheaper overall, the travel is a piece of cake, and the whole process from admissions to licensing is just simpler.
So at the end of the day, there's no single right answer. There's no best country. The real question is, what's best for you? Does a lower budget and a hassle-free process matter most? Or is the prestige of an older system and that potential European license worth the extra cost and complexity? Only you can answer that.
Want to know the secret to getting into a top MBBS university abroad without breaking the bank? Just type MBBS abroad or study abroad and send us a WhatsApp message right now. Get a free consultation call with our study abroad experts and discover lowest fee universities, NMC approved colleges, complete admission process free. Don't let confusion hold you back. Message MBBS abroad today and start your medical journey. Link in description. Hurry, limited slots available.